Hi everyone, whoever's here. Just getting everything set up. If you're tuning in, you're watching this as the archive, you can go ahead and probably skip a couple minutes into the video once everything is set up and good to go. If you're here, hey Tiny Violist, if you're here, feel free to say hi in the chat. I'm just gonna finish getting everything set up. You can let me know if the audio is weird or anything is strange so I can make some adjustments on my end. And we'll be ready to go soon with the stream. Oops, okay. Daisy the cat is in the vicinity. We'll see if she makes herself known. And how are you guys doing on this fine, what day is it, Wednesday? It's a Wednesday afternoon here in LA, Wednesday evening for East Coast people. And I was traveling the first week of January, and I was traveling for Christmas also separately, so I've been all over the place doing a lot of different stuff, and I just thought doing a live stream would be a great way to get sort of back into the routine of being on YouTube. And I love getting to talk to you guys and interact, and yeah, so thought it would be a good way to ease in. Oh, hey everyone, hey guys, thanks for joining. You're all very punctual. I'm a little later than when I planned to get live, but this was kind of a spontaneous idea, as my live streams often are. So I'm just finishing getting everything set up, so just hang tight a couple more minutes. Just gonna put a little post on Instagram, let people know that they can join us for the stream. And let me know if things sound funny, if I'm too quiet, too loud, anything like that. One of the issues that I have is I don't have a separate microphone for cello playing and voice, so usually I have to make some adjustments once I start playing. But other than that, we should be good to go in the next few minutes. I'm surrounded by a bunch of computers. I'm running this stream on my actual laptop. This computer I have here is a very ancient old laptop that I'm going to use to try to monitor the questions once I'm actually playing, because I don't want to always have to keep coming up to where the camera is. But this computer that I'm using as my secondary is so slow, so bear with me as I get everything going here. And soon I will be able to see what you guys are saying over on this computer. All right, while that loads up, get this Instagram post going. Okay, almost done with this. Thank you guys for being patient. Alrighty. Okay, so today, what I was planning on doing for today, I'm always down for Q&A questions. Questions may be more sparked once I start playing or once we start talking about other topics, but questions are always welcome. Talking a little bit about my collaborator application process that I just announced. And then I was going to practice maybe a little Dall'Abaco. So we will just see how that goes. Okay, I think this is good to go now. Hopefully that chat will update. Okay. All right, guys. So, what do you think? Should I get some playing done? Maybe do some scales, warm up a little bit until the conversation starts flowing? As always, on these live streams, I have not yet played today. That's always the theme. No rosin in there, so you guys get to see me really get started. Oh, I'm glad I was able to help you last time with your gut string questions. I'm always happy to talk about gut strings because I've been playing on them for a while. I'm pretty used to them now, but they certainly are finicky and they take some getting used to. So let's see how this angle's going to work out. This seems okay. All right, I'm going to get tuned. I'm going to turn the microphone down a little because sometimes it's too loud for the cello. But if I start talking later and it's too quiet, just let me know. I set my tuner on my leg and then it falls. Luckily I'm on a carpet, it won't break. Thanks for all the thumbs up already, you guys. I super appreciate when you do that. I haven't even done anything interesting or exciting yet, so I appreciate that there's already 10 thumbs up. So if you're somewhat new to my channel and you don't know about Baroque Cello, this is a Baroque cello. In all technical terms, it is a modern cello. It was built in the 1950s, but it was partially converted into Baroque setup, which is slightly different than modern cello. You can't see it in the shot, but I do not have an end pin. I have what's just called a little button down there, so I just cradle the instrument in my legs, and nothing touches the floor. I am playing on gut strings, which have a different sound and timbre and kind of a different technique to play on. My fingerboard's a little bit shorter, my bridge is a different shape, my tailpiece does not have any fine tuners on it, and you probably noticed when I was tuning that I'm using the large pegs like a violin. And then I've got my Baroque bow, which has a pointier tip and a different shape than the modern bow. If it's a little quiet, I will turn up, and you guys just have to let me know if it gets distorted or too loud. And yes, I am tuning to A415, which is a half step lower than A440. And as always, before I get started, so all of my live streams and all of my YouTube videos are supported by my patrons on Patreon. Patreon is basically what allows me to make some of my living on YouTube. And if you don't know about Patreon, there's a link to it in the description of the video. You can basically pledge anywhere from $1 to as much as you would like, and it's basically like a tip for me for each YouTube video that I do. So Patreon supports a lot of my YouTube video production, both the live streams and the produced videos, and then I have a GoFundMe set up if you're just enjoying the live stream and you want to give a tip. You know, that way the GoFundMe is set up for a one-time donation. Oh, hey, Andy, congratulations on your acceptance. That's awesome. Super exciting. Okay. All right, and everybody be kind, because unkind comments will be removed. All right, this is a nice, friendly environment. That's the only type of attitude I will tolerate. So this bow is made by Christopher English. I believe he's still making bows. It's made of African blackwood, and it's basically just modeled after a standard 18th century Baroque bow. It does have a screw, which is a modern invention. The old bows actually had clip-in frogs. You would just choose a frog of a different size in order to tighten and loosen the bow. But in modern day, we put this little screw on here just for convenience. But it's basically a model of an 18th century bow. Okay, so let's warm up. I'm just going to do a couple scales like I often do. If you guys have seen my streams or any of my practice videos before, you know my scale warm-ups probably, but that's always what I do to get started. So I'm just going to do a couple scales. You guys can throw me questions or whatever you want in the chat, and I'll check on it as soon as I'm done. Hopefully the volume level is okay now. Stroke. That's one of my favorite warm-up bow strokes, the long, short, short. It really helps you get your fingers mobile, because so much of what we want to do on the Baroque bow and with gut strings is going to involve some finger dexterity, so it's nice to have a bow stroke that helps us start using finger movement. Okay. Okay, looking at your questions, you guys. I do not know the weight of my bow. I do not know a lot of the technical specifications for my equipment, so I apologize in advance about that. Yes, it's horsehair, as all bows are strung with horsehair, except maybe some very inexpensive models, but most are all horsehair. Rosining the bow is the same as you would rosin a modern bow. Rosin techniques don't vary too much. I mean, people like different kinds of rosin on gut strings, but that gets into particulars. I'm not really a rosin snob. My favorite rosin is this Kaplan dark rosin, pretty basic. You can see it's kind of busted up, just comes on this little cloth. This is my favorite rosin. It's not expensive, not fancy. Hey Michael, thanks for joining. No worries. Rest up. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to move the camera down a little bit for the cello shot. Is that a little better? Doesn't cut my head off? Yeah, now you can see a little more cello. Okay. JamWow, appreciate your comments. Yes, being a musician is hard. I don't think anybody would dispute that. It's a hard way to make a living. It's a hard life, but that doesn't mean it's not worthwhile or that it's not possible. Just hard. But working a job that you hate and being miserable is also hard. So, you know, life is hard, no matter what path you choose. easy routes. That's my philosophy for the day. All right, what am I doing? I was going to play Dall'Abaco today. Do I have that sitting around here? I've got so many things. So I just started working on this Dall'Abaco Capriccio with one of my students. We're just getting going on it. And it is something that I recorded on one of my albums, Bass Sounds Evolved. But that was already still a couple years ago, and I played it in some recitals, but I kind of want to revisit it and play it some more. So that's kind of what I was thinking of practicing today. I have actually never popped one of my gut strings. I feel very lucky for that. I'm pretty cautious about it. I've broken steel strings, the top string of an A string at least in the East Coast in the wintertime when it gets crazy dry and the conditions are so extreme from heat inside to freezing cold outside. I've popped A strings, steel A strings on cello, but I've actually never popped a gut string. Thank goodness, because they are not cheap. Okay, I can see you guys are getting into a whole professional discussion about, making your living as a musician. I certainly know what that's like, and if you guys don't know, I do have a lot of videos on my channel where I talk about some of these topics, like how to make a living as a freelancer, how to get started as a freelancer, how to find work. I do have some resources on my channel about those topics if you are considering a career in music, or you're looking to learn a little bit more, you just want to get more work. I have provided some videos that just talk a little bit about what I've done, what's worked for me, and it's of course always fluctuating. Like a lot of you know that I relocated to Los Angeles this year after being in Boston, Massachusetts for 7 years. And by the time 7 years was up in Boston, I had a very healthy, freelance life that I had spent years building up, because many people know it takes a long time to get students, to get your name out there, for people to know to hire you, to form chamber groups, whatever it is that you're doing, that all takes time. So after being in Boston for a number of years, I had, a pretty sustainable living there. And now I moved to a new city and I kind of have to start all over again. So I'm sort of, in certain ways, I've had to go back to some of my earlier career stages now that I had to leave all my work behind. But for me, it was the right decision because I was ready to relocate and I was ready for a new environment. But for that reason, I'm not in as comfortable a position as I was just a few years ago. But that's all a part of the fun. That's a part of relocating. It's a part of being a freelancer. So it's just a part of the process. There's always ups and downs in a freelance life. We have busy times where work is coming in and we're overworked, but we're making enough money. And then we have really slow times where we don't make enough money and we're stressed out. That's just the nature of the career. We don't have that stability the way you would with a full-time job. But a full-time job, as I'm seeing all around me from a lot of people, can lay you off, and then you're really in a tough situation. So at least you really are self-sufficient in a freelance career, and you're not reliant on one individual source for your income. So that's kind of a benefit. But yes, it certainly is challenging. Okay. You can tune steel strings to scordatura. You can, especially if you're tuning them down. I don't even know if there are scordatura tunings. For those who don't know, scordatura is when a composer indicates that they actually want you to tune your strings to different notes than what you would normally have your instrument tuned to. You can do those with any strings, but most of the scordatura tunings are for violin, is where you see that most often. Okay. You guys are saying a lot of stuff and I was rambling, so as much as I was going to play the Dall'Abaco, let me get to all your questions and stuff. Oh, this charger's driving me nuts. I'm going to unplug it. Might make my computer die, though. Alright, and I guess I'll turn this volume up a little so you guys can hear me just as well. Though, do let me know if it's too quiet. Alright. Okay. rosin. Vinny asked about rosin. Rosin spelled R-O-S-I-N. Rosin comes from some kind of tree sap. Anyone else know the more scientific explanation of rosin? It coats the bow hairs so that the bow hairs actually grab the string and make the string make sound. If you were to get a brand new bow hair with no rosin on it, it actually would not make any sound on the string. You need the rosin to create some friction and actually make the string ring. Okay, keeping your wrist loose and flexible. Richard asks. So, I have pretty long arms and long fingers. So a lot of people with this problem end up, like I often have, with a lot of bends because we're trying to make enough room for the length of our arm. So we end up bending the wrist and bending the elbow rather than finding a placement where we can straighten things out. It's really important to avoid unnecessary bends on both sides, because what that does is it stops the flow of energy. We actually want most of our energy to be coming all the way from back here, like our shoulder blades. So if we've got all these bends in our wrists and our elbow, it cuts off that flow of energy. But if we're able to straighten things out a bit, usually for me that means finding maybe a wider placement for my elbow so that my wrist doesn't have to cock up this way. It helps the energy flow from the whole back side of you to go all the way in through your fingertips. So for one, loosening the wrist, make sure you don't have an unnecessary bend. And the wrist is really all a part of the fingers as well. So I would suspect if you're having a tight wrist, you likely have a kind of claw grip bow hold as well. So getting used to finger dexterity. You can see on my Baroque bow, my bow hold is basically like a violin bow hold for this technique, but I have a pronated hand where the first finger grabs the stick, and I have a pinky on top. But even if you were to have the pinky down and you were to be holding down here like a modern bow, you can still work on finger flexibility exercises like this, bow ups, and also getting used to the difference between pronating and I think it's called supinating, the opposite. Getting used to this axis as well, just getting everything softened. Your fingertips should always stay in contact in the same place, but everything else should be malleable. The movement of the finger knuckles as well as the wrist. And as always, when you're working on something that's right hand intensive, it helps to just do open strings. Don't feel like you have to play passage work because it's distracting. So work on just playing open strings and getting a more flexible feeling in your right side. If you broke a whole set of strings because of scordatura, either you were in some tough weather conditions, or you need a bridge adjustment, or you need a nut adjustment. But yeah, retuning your strings, unless you're being really crazy aggressive with it, should not cause all your strings to break unless you have some kind of underlying problem, or the strings are really old, or the climate's really harsh. But assuming you're in reasonable conditions, you shouldn't break all your strings retuning them. Okay, sorry guys, because I'm taking a while to answer all the questions, I'm a little bit behind, so I know some of you guys are still talking, and I'm going to get to everything as best I can. Do I play on a modern cello sometimes? Yes, so I play modern cello for most of my lessons. I teach modern cello, so for my teaching, I use my other cello. And occasionally I will do a gig on modern cello. I have one coming up that's going to be like a hybrid performance with a Baroque bow but using a modern instrument. So I do play on my modern cello still regularly. I mean, most of my main performances, my YouTube and Instagram videos, all that are on my Baroque cello because that's the instrument that I prefer, but I do play my modern cello. Oh, Sevchik. I used to use the someone asked if I used the Sevchik exercises. I definitely still have those books somewhere. I've used them mostly for just like little bow exercises that I applied to scales. That was during my master's kind of early on, but I did use some of the Sevchik. Yeah, I can't really speak to violin strings anyway, this whole thing about scordatura and their breaking, because I don't have to do a lot of tuning of violin strings these days. I did a little bit when I was teaching more. I had to tune little tiny violins, but I don't do that as much anymore. Okay. if the questions are slowing down, then I am going to maybe get back into my filming. Oh, and if you guys didn't see, I forgot this is here. So I have a little Amazon shop that has like all my favorite cello products and stuff. So if you are like curious about the rosin that I just mentioned, this tuner that I use, which I love, oops, wrong way. This little Korg box can play drones of any pitch, and it can also tune to the scent. So I can like set it to A415 and then go through different pitches. It's great for practicing scales with a drone, because if you ever try to do that, it's those little, sometimes those little tiny electronic tuners don't make a great sound, but this one, oh, it's okay. I'm scaring my cat. It's okay, Daisy. So that's really handy for scales, having a drone, and it has a volume control too. So I really like this tuner. It's up on my shop. The link is in the description of the video. Yes, I have a master's in historical performance, which is basically Baroque cello, but also music history. The fingering for Arioso, I assume you mean the one in Suzuki Book 5. I mean, there are a lot of fingerings that work. There's a lot of, you know, some people like to do alternate fingerings, going to the D and the G strings more often. You can also just stay in lower positions and use the A string. There's a lot of options for Arioso. But Suzuki, if you're using it from the Suzuki books, they do print a lot of fingerings in there. Yeah, I never really use tuning forks. I don't like that you have to hit something to use a tuning fork, so I just use my tuner. I'm fine with that. Okay. So, what was I doing? I was warming up. Oh, I was going to talk about this Dall'Abaco. So, if you don't know these pieces, I recorded them on my album Bass Sounds Evolved, which is a couple years old now, but that album is on Spotify, iTunes, etc., also on Bandcamp. You can just, by the way, if you guys don't know, all my discography, and including some of my audio from my most popular YouTube videos, is on Spotify now, and I'm really trying to get people on listening to me on Spotify, because I just think it's a kind of better way. It's more sort of like interactive. I can put stuff up there and release it. I can like pin little things. I'm just really liking Spotify. So if you guys are Spotify users, search Emily Davidson. You'll find my page. You can click the follow button, and then it lets you know if I release new things. But my 2 solo cello albums, both of them a couple years old at this point, but my 2 solo cello albums are up there on Spotify. My electronic remix, Baroque remix album, Old Style, is up there, and then some of my YouTube audio. And I really want to start releasing more things onto Spotify as well, so it's good to be following me there too if you use Spotify to listen to your music. Okay. Oh, is it going to be Bach's 333rd birthday? That's funny. I had no idea which birthday this would be for Bach, but I do always like to acknowledge his birthday when it comes around, which is March 21st? Is that when it is? Something like that. Okay, so Dall'Abaco anyway. These are 18th century pieces for solo Baroque cello. So they're around the same era that Bach was writing the cello suites, but they're a little different. They're not as chord heavy. You don't play as much double stops. They're a little bit more melodic. They're maybe more simple musically than Bach, because how can we rival the complexity of Bach? But I think that's actually what makes them pretty charming. So you want to hear the Elgar cello concerto? I am not really playing on the right cello because my historical instrument is geared for much earlier repertoire. But maybe at one point I'll play some Elgar, but not on this cello, not today, sorry. Baroque repertoire only for now. Okay. So I am going to dive into the first Capriccio. It's in C minor. I'll get practicing with that in a second. Would I consider an overseas collaboration with a Baroque violinist? I've done a couple of overseas collaborations, you know, sending video files back and forth. It's definitely possible. Right now, if you guys, I guess, okay, before I start playing, I'll talk a little bit more about my whole collaboration thing that I just announced. And if you didn't see it, I probably should have put the link in the description of the video. So I recently made a video. It's got to be the last video that's up on my channel. So if you go to my channel page, you'll see the video there. About how I'm kind of opening up my channel for people to apply to be featured, because I just want to have more content on my channel besides what I can provide just as me. Because I've done so many videos and so many things with solo Baroque cello, and I really want my channel to include lots of early music, lots of classical music in general, and there's just only so much that I can do myself, especially when I'm trying to put out videos every week. So I've opened up a submission form to have one of your videos featured on my channel. So right now the collaborations that I'm looking for are not ones where I would be playing with you right away. They're going to be videos that you've already filmed of yourself, or that you're in the process of filming of yourself, that you would just get basically like a featured place on my channel with that video. And of course, the videos that I'm looking for are going to mostly be Baroque repertoire, since that's what my channel focuses on. Some early classical would work as well, and especially a high priority to actual historical instruments, Baroque instruments, and so forth. So right now, I'm just going through the submissions and seeing what's going to be a good fit for the channel. The first few videos that I'm going to roll out, I really want them to be very much in line with the type of stuff that I do on my channel, and then I may expand from that point, but right now I'm especially looking for Baroque music, Baroque musicians, Baroque instruments. That's the priority, but anything within the classical realm is fair game. Okay. And yeah, JamWow, didn't you send me, I think you already did send me an application about the Ashokan Farewell, right? Because I do believe I saw that, and I'm going to be replying to everybody's submission probably within the next week or so. Alrighty. Hold on just a moment, guys. I'm going to put you on a quick hold and mute the microphone, so thank you for your patience. Let's see if I can do this properly. Where is the control for this? Here we go. Okay, guys, I will be right back just a moment. Hey you guys, thank you for your patience. Are you hearing me okay? Okay, so I realize I am having some technical issues on my end here, sadly, and this stream just got started, so it's really unfortunate that I have to take the stream down in order to fix this. So this is sad because I was really enjoying this stream and we were just getting going. So guys, I am going to try to get back live and basically resume this stream as soon as I can. I'm so sorry that I have to turn it off, but for stream stuff, you've got to take everything down. You can't really make that many adjustments while you're doing it live. So guys, thank you for the questions. I'm going to get back to all of them. The ones that I didn't get to, please remember, I'm going to continue this live stream either later tonight or another time soon. So just stay put. I'm so sorry that I have to go, but we are going to get back with this stream as soon as possible. All you guys got from me today was a scale, so I owe you much more streaming really soon. Sorry to cut this off short, but make sure you're subscribed to my channel because it'll email you whenever I go live, so you'll catch it next time. All right, guys, take care. I'm going to see you soon.